Hello, bonjour, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Nancy Majulian, clinical registered herbalist, nutritionist, naturopath, tree hugger, and a human being. After 15 years in the aerospace industry, I decided to make a career change because I believe health is our biggest asset, and if we invest in it, it does pay dividends. And I really want to help you get your health back like I got mine back. If you want to read more about my journey, you can read it on my website at GaiaLifeForce.com, and you can follow my Facebook page, Nancy Majulian. A little disclaimer, I am not a medical doctor and I am not here to diagnose or treat any disease. The purpose of this video and any information that I post is educational purposes only. So this is a part 2 of the bone health series. In the part 1, I covered the importance of vitamin D, that it's not only a vitamin, but it's also an important hormone, the importance of magnesium for bone health and how it helps with calcium absorption. And I also talked about why you have to stop smoking cigarettes if you want to prevent osteoporosis. So today I'm going to talk about another mineral that was believed to be very important for bones. Can you guess which one it is? So if you guess calcium, that's absolutely right. Getting enough calcium in the diet has been emphasized in the popular press, and we've seen that a lot in commercials in the past, especially in the 80s and the 90s. However, studies are actually showing that calcium alone does not actually protect you from osteoporosis and fractures, nor does low calcium intake predict fracture risk. So I do want to share a quick study here with you. And all studies and links will be posted in the comment section. So highlighted in red, you will see in 1992 review of fracture rates in many different countries show that populations with the lowest calcium intake had far fewer fractures than those with much higher intake. So for example, they looked at South African blacks and who on average have a very low calcium intake, 196 milligrams. The World Health Organization recommends roughly 450 milligrams of calcium, and they had less than half. Yet their fracture incidence was only 6.8 per 100,000 people, far below that of either black or white Americans, whose incidence rates were 60.4 and 118.3 per 100,000 person. And a possible explanation for this apparent contraindication is that countries with high calcium intake also tend to have high animal protein intake, and I am gonna cover that in the next few slides as to why that might be the case. There's another interesting study, and this is the Harvard nurses studied almost 78,000 women aged 34 to 59, and they followed them for 12 years. And highlighted in red, they found those who drank 3 or more glasses of milk per day had no reduction in the risk of hip or arm fractures compared to those who drank little or no milk. And in fact, the fracture rate was slightly but significantly higher for those who consumed 3 or more glasses of milk compared to those who drank little or no milk. And if we think about milk and dairy, these are also known to be sources of protein, animal protein sources. And actually, a lot of dairy commercials emphasize that calcium is a good source of protein. And I've seen one commercial, chocolate milk for recovery after working out. I'm not even going to get into the sugar content of that, but just to show that there's a emphasize on the protein component of dairy and calcium. And in fact, high protein from animal sources is associated with increased excretion of calcium in the urine and increased risk of osteoporosis. So why is that? Just like cigarette smoking, when you're consuming a high dose of animal proteins, your animal proteins create an acidic environment inside the body. And when you're consuming a lot of this, your body wants to make your internal environment more alkaline or less acidic in this case. So in order to make it less acidic, it needs minerals. And minerals are found in abundance in your bones, like magnesium and calcium. Therefore, it extracts these minerals from your bones to buffer the acidity, and hence you will excrete it through the urine. Oftentimes when I suspect that a client has a high acidic diet, I want to do a urine calcium test in my office to see how much calcium they're losing. And in fact, if I do see that, and if they fall in the criteria of high risk for osteoporosis, then we got to make sure we have a protocol in place to prevent that. So it's an important tool that I use in my practice to see if you are in fact losing calcium, and then we put the plan together. So in essence, animal protein tends to leach calcium from the bones, leading to its excretion in the urine. Animal proteins are high in sulfur-containing amino acids, and sulfur is converted to sulfate, which tends to acidify the blood. During the process of neutralizing this acid, bone dissolves into the bloodstream and filters through the kidneys. So the bone dissolving in this case is literally your body extracting the magnesium and calcium from your bones to manage or neutralize the acidity. Meats and eggs contain 2 or 5 times more of these sulfur-containing amino acids than plant-based foods. So they have 2 to 5 times, and if you're eating a lot of meats and eggs, then you're creating a higher acidic environment inside your body. So now you're probably asking yourself, you're like, all right, Nancy, you show me the studies about calcium. You're telling me milk and dairy are not a good source of calcium because they're gonna create an acidic environment inside my body. So what can I do? How can I get calcium? Because you still do need some amount of calcium for bone health. Part of the matrix, right? Part of what I showed you in the part 1 of the bone health series. In essence, the solution is very simple. Plant-based food sources are rich in calcium. Plant-based food sources like vegetables, legumes, leafy greens. And you're not only getting calcium, but you're also getting other minerals like magnesium, antioxidants, fiber, iron, little fat, and no cholesterol. And the other thing, calcium absorption from vegetables is as good, if not better, than milk. For example, the calcium absorption from milk is approximately 32%. But the calcium absorption from broccoli, Brussels sprouts, mustard green, turnip greens, and kale range anywhere from 40 to 64%. So that's almost double the calcium absorption in leafy greens. And I'm going to show you here you go, some examples of foods that are also like a good source of calcium. So the last one, the collard green, 1 cup has 350 milligrams. And like I said, the World Health Organization recommends roughly 450. So with 1 cup of collard greens, you're actually getting almost like your daily intake. And you throw some chickpeas in there, 80 milligrams, and right there you hit your numbers. And you're also getting calcium, which as I previously mentioned, it's good for bone health. Other sources of calcium, tahini. Tahini, 2 tablespoons has 150 milligrams of calcium. Tempeh has almost 300 milligrams of calcium. And the cool thing is with like tahini, for example, hummus, right? Everyone loves hummus. If you're eating hummus and it has tahini, not only are you getting protein, but you're also getting calcium. So this fear that you're not going to get enough protein or calcium from plant-based food sources is no longer true. Even Health Canada and the Revised Food Guide has removed dairy as a separate food group and is emphasizing that a plant-based diet is really healthier for you for overall beings. And I did do a video on the Revised Food Guide and what it entails. So plant-based food sources, you can get an abundance of calcium, protein, and all the other minerals and vitamins you need for optimal health. And another thing that's really important for bone health is exercising. So like muscle, bone is actually like a living tissue, and it responds to exercise and it becomes stronger. Just like when you work out your muscles and you're doing weight training, in the same time, your bones are responding and they are getting stronger. So you have to do weight bearing exercises for optimal bone health because it forces you to work against gravity, and that's the best exercise for bone. And if you're wondering what's a weight bearing exercises, well, simply weight training is a weight bearing exercise. Walking, climbing stairs, dancing, rebounding. If you're small frame, put the ankle weights around your ankles and like walk around with those. In the winter, go inside malls. If it's an ice rink like it has been here in Canada, especially in Montreal, go inside the malls, walk there. If go up and down the stairs if you live in a condo, an apartment building, your place of work. When I was in the aerospace, my office at one point was on the penthouse, and I would literally go up and down the stairs at least once a day, if not twice, averaging about 1,000 steps. So use these free tools that are out there for your health, and make sure you are leading a active and healthy life. And the one thing I really want to emphasize on is that if one thing is important is that just because you are not sick, it doesn't mean that you are healthy. And that is really important because oftentimes in my practice, I get clients and they're like, what? My doctor says like everything's fine, but I really don't feel good. I don't feel like I have a lot of energy and something's off. And like I said, just because you're not sick, it doesn't mean you're healthy. And I really want to help you, get your health back. I want you to thrive, to have optimal health. And if you want to book an appointment with me, I'm actually still accepting new clients. You can send an email at info@GaiaLifeForce.com, title it optimal health consultation, and I will send you instructions and the next steps. Or you can just go on my website on the welcome page highlighted in yellow here, book an appointment bottom left, and once the admin gets your message, we'll contact you with the next steps on how to work with me. And in conclusion, let us make a shift towards mindful eating practices. And like I've mentioned in the past, we have two homes, our bodies and the environment, and we really have to take care of both. If we give our body the right nutrients, our cells will thrive, will feel better. I'm a big believer that our internal terrain, our internal environment can help is the key to prevention of disease and imbalances. And we are in a time of change. We are seeing that, with the younger generations, with the millennials. I see a lot of my corporate clients also, they want to eat better, they want to feel better. And these days it is easy with a little bit of guidance. And I really want to help you achieve that. Because remember, health is your biggest asset. If you invest in it, it will pay dividends. And in conclusion, I do want to talk about the French word of today. It's going to be os, which means bones. Alors, prends bien soin de tes os. Take good care of your bones. Merci pour regarder. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, share this video. And I really look forward to interacting with you. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. And à la prochaine. Bye bye.